Chapter 2, A Strange Customer. Nancy pulled herself free from the excited woman. By this time, Bess and George, aware that their friend was in difficulty, darted to Nancy's side. "Police! Police!" the woman screamed again. "My daughter's been robbed." "Who is your daughter?" Nancy asked the woman sharply. "You should know. You sold her that there red stuff she put on her cheeks and lips." Light dawned upon Nancy. "Then your daughter is the girl who bought several things from Madame with the pushcart." "She bought them from you," the woman accused the Drew girl. "Oh, you needn't look so innocent. I seen you wheel that cart of yourn out of the street when that horse ran away." Nancy explained that Madame sold the cosmetics, not she. Bess and George supported her story, but the farm woman would not listen. "I want my money back," she stormed. "My husband and I saved it up raising chickens. We gave Minnie $10 to buy a pair of shoes and some other things she needed. Then along you come with that awful-looking stuff and rob her. What's worse, you encourage her to paint herself up like an Indian. I'll have the law on you." "Here comes a policeman now," George muttered in Nancy's ear. It was not the first time Nancy Drew had found herself in a predicament. Her young life had been fairly crammed with adventure. Nancy's mother was dead. For many years the girl had been reared by Mrs. Gruen, the family housekeeper, whom she regarded almost as a parent. Because Nancy was unusually sensible, clever, and talented, Mrs. Gruen allowed her a great deal of freedom, particularly when she was assisting her father on one of his cases. Nevertheless, the housekeeper sometimes felt that Nancy took entirely too many risks. She had not approved when only a few months earlier those inseparable companions, Bess, George, and Nancy, had explored Heath Castle, an abandoned estate not far from the city of River Heights. Their investigations had resulted in finding the clue in the crumbling wall. But Nancy had spent many trying hours locked in an ancient dungeon before the adventure was over. One of the first mystery cases to bring Nancy fame was widely spoken of as the secret of the old clock. Her remarkable success in gaining clues where older people had failed had led Mr. Drew to consider his daughter as an unofficial assistant. Whenever possible, he assigned investigation work to her, and never once had he any reason to regret it. Now, as the policeman ran toward the girls, Nancy waited calmly, for she knew she had done nothing wrong. "What's going on here?" the patrolman demanded as he hurried up to the group. "This girl robbed me," the woman accused. "She tricked my daughter into buying a lot of trash to put on her face." "This woman had mistaken me for someone else," Nancy said quietly. "Then where is the other person?" demanded Nancy's accuser. The girls turned to gaze toward the spot where they had left the cart. It was gone. Madame must have taken it away. "I want my money back," the woman resumed her tirade. "See here," said the policeman sternly. "You're creating an unnecessary disturbance. What is your charge against this girl?" "That she sold my daughter a lot of worthless—" Oops, that part is missing from my book. Worthless, some kind of cracks, but my book is messed up, unfortunately. At this moment, a man stepped up to the group, introduced himself as Professor Atkins, and said he had seen the whole episode from down the street. Smiling at Nancy, He told how she had saved the flower-decked pushcart and had not received so much as a thank you from its owner. The woman turned pale. I guess I've made a mistake," she muttered. "Forget what I said." She retreated hastily. Nancy thanked the professor. Then, eager to leave, she quickly led the way to her car and drove out of town. En route to Candleton, Bess opened the vial of Moncure, and I still don't know how to say this word, Moncure perfume she had bought. After she had sniffed the perfume, the girl gazed at her companions a bit sheepishly. "I'm afraid I was gypped," she said. "This isn't so good as the sample." "It's fragrant anyway," Nancy remarked soothingly as Bess held the bottle under her friend's nose. Then George sniffed at the bottle and pretended to collapse on the cushions. This would slay a man instead of making him propose, as Madame suggested. "Take my advice and throw it away." "And waste all my money?" Bess recorked the bottle. "No, I'll keep it." The road no longer offered the monotonous scenery it had on the other side of Fisher's Cove. Instead, it ran lazily along moors carpeted with low-growing juniper, and at points the rocks split into colorful masses over which leaped the sea's filmy spray. "We're not far from Candleton now," Nancy declared, as cliffs loomed in the distance. Abruptly, the car rounded a bend, and the girls caught their first glimpse of Whitecap Bay. Never before had they seen such a stretch of beautiful water. Once only a fishing town, the little village of Candleton was now a fashionable summer resort with attractive cottages and fine hotels. Mrs. Chantry's comfortable home stood at some distance from the beach, just beyond the business section of the town. Nancy drove the car up an attractive private drive and stopped in front of the house. A young Negro maid opened the door and smilingly said that she was Juno. She helped them carry their luggage to their rooms and explained that her mistress was at the tea room. Mrs. Chantry had left word that the girls were to make themselves at home. "Let's go down to the tea room," George suggested. The three girls quickly changed their clothes and set out, taking a shortcut that led directly to the beach. Wandering slowly along the waterfront, they saw many old fishermen's houses, which had been converted into artists' studios. Men and women wearing smocks sat in the dazzling sunlight, sketching the boats which lay at anchor in the bay. "What can be the mystery which is disturbing Candleton?" mused Nancy. "Everything seems very peaceful here." "Yes, it does," Bess agreed. Presently the girls saw Mrs. Chantry's tea room, the Salsindee shop. Bright-colored umbrellas dotted its outdoor dining room and garden. "What a clever name," Bess observed as Nancy explained the tea room specialized in salads and sandwiches. "What does the D stand for?" "I don't know. We'll have to ask Mrs. Chantry." A number of customers were seated in the outdoor dining room waiting to be served, while others were waiting inside. A harassed waitress moved swiftly about, trying without success to take a dozen orders. Nervous and confused, she showed her annoyance as Nancy stopped her to inquire for Mrs. Chantry. "She's in the kitchen," the girl replied. "But please don't bother her now unless it's important. Several of our girls failed to show up today and were nearly frantic trying to serve everyone." Nancy and her chums might have gone away quietly to await Mrs. Chantry at her home had not an idea occurred to Nancy. "Why don't we pitch in and help her?" she demanded. "We've waited on tables before." "It would be fun," agreed George. Seeking their hostess in the kitchen, they found her frantically making dozens of salads. Bread in the toaster started to burn. With an exclamation of impatience, she switched off the current. Mrs. Chantry, a woman in her mid-40s, was ordinarily a serene and attractively groomed person. Now a wisp of gray hair tumbled down over one eye, and a splotch of tomato ketchup stained her apron. "Hello," said Nancy cheerfully. "Do you need my help, or do you need any help?" I apologize because my book is obviously not a very good copy, and there's a lot of words that are I have to try and figure out as I go along what they are. Mrs. Chantry dropped a knife. Her face mirrored dismay. "Why, it's Nancy Drew, and these are your friends," she gasped. "How ashamed I am to be found in such a state." "You need help, and we're here to give it," Nancy offered with a smile. "Just tell us what to do." "I can't put you girls to work the first moment you arrive. Why, you're my guests." "We'd like to do it," Bess spoke up. "Please let us." "Then I won't protest any longer. You're a gift straight from heaven. If you can help out for an hour, the worst of the rush will be over." Chatting excitedly, Mrs. Chantry tied aprons on the three girls. While George remained in the kitchen to make sandwiches, Nancy and Bess were sent to wait on tables. Seeking Dora, the waitress they had met a few minutes earlier, they requested instructions. "You take the tables out in the garden," the girl directed Nancy, sizing her up as the more efficient of the two girls. "Bess and I will handle the inside dining room. Here are your order pads. Don't try to carry too many dishes, or you may have an accident." "Waitress!" called an impatient voice. "Everyone is in a dreadful mood," Dora whispered. "Some have been waiting nearly an hour for their food." Nancy moved swiftly among the tables assigned to her. She took orders efficiently, learning the names of the dishes which made the Salsindee shop so popular. A steady flow of food began to arrive from the kitchen, including the popular three-decker grilled lobster, cheese, and tomato sandwich, the mixed green salad with minced ham and clam dressing, and the dandy tart, filled with steaming hot fish pudding topped with salmon-colored meringue. The girls learned that the last syllable of the name Salsindee was derived from the D in dandy. Customers, at first impatient and cross, soon began to smile at Nancy. After clearing one place, she was amazed to find $1 tip. One of the last diners in the garden was a white-haired man with spectacles. He dawdled over a frosted glass of iced tea. Nancy hovered near, hopeful that he would leave, but instead he became talkative. "Do you live here?" he inquired. "No, I'm just a visitor helping out," Nancy explained. "Actually, I'm not a waitress." "Well, I'm a stranger in this town myself. Came here looking for a bell." Nancy remained politely silent. Not an ordinary bell, but one that was made in a casting furnace in Boston during the Revolutionary War. A Paul Revere bell. That's what I'm after. "Then you're an antique collector?" Nancy asked, becoming interested. "Not exactly. Those old bells are valuable as antiques, but I want this particular one for another reason." The old man gazed at her with shrewd eyes. "They tell me there are any number of old bells to be had around this town." "I wouldn't know about that," Nancy replied. "I arrived here only a few hours ago." I see," muttered the stranger. Hurriedly drinking his iced tea, he dropped a coin by his plate and went down the path toward the ocean. Wondering who the man might be, Nancy began to clear away the dishes. She dropped the coin in her pocket, intending to give it and the other tips to Dora. As the girl picked up a plate, she noticed a folded piece of paper on the floor at her feet and brushed it aside. Then the thought struck her that the paper might be important. Perhaps the diner, who had just left the garden, dropped it. Putting down her tray, Nancy picked up the paper. The handwriting on it was very old-fashioned. A puzzled look came over her face as she read the words, which were in French. "Whoever finds this may become enormously wealthy," she translated in amazement. "In one of my XXX cast bells are embedded many jewels." The paper had been torn in half, and the remainder of the strange message was missing. Until next time.